My girlfriend yelled, "You're holding me back." I didn't argue. I simply said, "Fly free." Then quietly canceled her gym subscription and let her lease lapse. A week later, her friends were in my inbox, desperate for answers. I'm 29, a software engineer, the type who prefers structure and stability. I don't live an exciting life, but I've built a solid one. My girlfriend Melissa, 27, was the opposite, spontaneous, loud, always chasing something new. For a while, our differences balanced each other. I admired her spark, and she said she valued my grounding influence. But over time, different turned into opposing. Melissa loved being the center of attention. Nights out, constant selfies, long captions about living her best life. I was fine with her world until slowly, I noticed I was being painted as the villain in her story. She started telling her friends I was too controlling because I didn't want to spend every weekend at clubs. She said I lacked ambition, because I didn't want to quit my job and start a travel vlog. At first, I brushed it off. Relationships have friction. But one night while we argued about money again, it exploded. "You're holding me back," she screamed, like I was an anchor chained to her ankle. I didn't scream back. I just looked at her and said, "Fly free." She expected me to beg. I didn't. Instead, I quietly cut ties where it mattered. I unsubscribed her from the gym membership I'd been paying for, and when her apartment lease was up, an apartment I had been helping cover well, I simply didn't renew my part. Melissa thought I was bluffing. She posted on social media like nothing had changed, her usual captions about empowerment and chasing dreams. But a week later, the cracks started showing. Her friends began messaging me, confused. They wanted to know why Melissa seemed off, as she was suddenly crashing on couches, why her gym check-ins had stopped. I didn't answer. I let silence do the work. It's because for years, Melissa thought she could rewrite our story, make me the bad guy who didn't support her dreams. But when I finally stepped back, the narrative started to shift in. She didn't like the way it looked. And that was just the beginning. Melissa thought she was writing her triumphant new chapter. The night after our fight, she posted a picture with a cocktail in hand, captioned, "Unleashing the real me. No more chains." Friends ate it up with fire emojis and cheers. But I knew the truth. Freedom looks glamorous only until the bills show up. I had always covered the little things she didn't mention. Her gym subscription, her lease top-up, even her car insurance when she was short. Melissa had dreams, but her dreams were expensive, and my wallet was the quiet scaffolding holding them up. The moment I stopped, her foundation cracked. At first, she tried to mask it. She borrowed outfits from friends, took selfies in their apartments like they were hers, and tagged gyms she no longer had access to. The illusion held for a few days, but by the end of the week, her tone shifted. She wasn't posting boss girl captions anymore. She was sharing vague quotes about betrayal and toxic energy. Her friends noticed. That's when my inbox started filling. "Hey, did you two break up?" Melissa said you're jealous of her success. "Is that true? What's going on? She seems really down." I didn't reply. I let her version of the story unravel on its own. Because here's the thing, Melissa was always good at spinning narratives. She could make herself the victim in any situation. But without me behind the scenes smoothing over the rough edges, her story had holes she couldn't patch. The second week was worse. She called me first angry, then pitiful. "How could you just cut me off?" "After everything I gave you," she demanded. I wanted to laugh. Everything she gave me. I had been the one quietly carrying the weight. Simply said, "You said I was holding you back." I let go. Silence. Then she hung up. A day later, a mutual friend pulled me aside. Apparently, Melissa had been showing up uninvited to hangouts, asking who I was with, if I was seeing someone new. Her friends were starting to get uncomfortable. The confident, carefree woman they once admired now looked desperate, restless, unraveling. And still, I kept quiet. Because the truth doesn't need defending. When someone screams loud enough, eventually everyone notices the cracks in their performance. That weekend, her closest friend texted me again, not with questions, but with concern. "She's falling apart. She misses you." She won't admit it, but she does. What happened? I didn't answer. Melissa had built her narrative on freedom, how she was living it. And freedom, it turned out, didn't look like late-night yacht parties or lavish brunches. It looked like a girl with no plan, no anchor, and no one left to fund the dreams she thought she could chase forever. but I knew this wasn't the end. No, Melissa wasn't the type to fade quietly. She was about to make her move, and I was ready. By the third week, Melissa's bravado started crumbling in plain sight. Her Instagram feed went from champagne glasses and sunsets to grainy selfies captioned with things like, "Not everyone wants to see you win." The girl who once lectured me about ambition was now publicly fishing for sympathy. That's when she started calling again. The first voicemail was defensive. "You're petty. Is canceling my stuff just to prove a point?" Real mature. The second, softer. "Okay, maybe I overreacted. Maybe I was stressed. Can we talk?" By the third, she sounded almost desperate. "Please, let's fix this. I didn't mean it like that." But here's the thing, Melissa always meant it like that. She was blunt when she thought she was invincible and only backtracked when reality pushed back. I'd seen the pattern before. She burned bridges, then tried to rebuild them when the smoke cleared. Not this time. Her lease expiration hit hard. I'd always been the one quietly handling renewals, paperwork, deposits. She thought the place was secure until the notice arrived. Suddenly, she was scrambling. A friend of hers posted a cryptic story. "Some people only learn when the rug is pulled." I had a feeling it was about her. Then came the Mustang. Melissa adored that car. I'd helped with the down payment, and when she was short on monthly installments, I stepped in. She flaunted it as proof of her independence, never mentioning who kept it on the road. Now, with no cushion, the repo warnings arrived. She texted me in a panic. "Please, just cover this month. I'll pay you back, I swear." I stared at the message for a long time. Once I would have rushed to fix it, to protect her from consequences. Instead, I deleted it. Her friends kept reaching out, their tones shifting. At first, they parroted her story. I was controlling, bitter, jealous. But as her instability grew, so did their doubts. One even said, "She's different without you around. Angrier, more lost." That told me everything. By the end of that month, Melissa finally showed up at my place. No call, no warning, just her knocking on the door with eyes red from crying. "We need to talk," she said, her voice shaking. I let her in, but stayed standing. She paced my living room like a caged animal. "I didn't mean what I said," she blurted. "You're not holding me back. I was just scared. Scared of depending on you. Scared of not making it on my own." I folded my arms. "So you screamed at me, threw away what we had because you were scared." Her silence was answer enough. Finally, she whispered, "I need your help. I can't do this alone." And for the first time, I believed her. She really couldn't. The problem was Di was no longer interested in saving her. Melissa didn't leave right away. She lingered in my apartment, trying to make herself small, like if she looked pitiful enough, I'd fold. But pity isn't love. And I'd already given her too much of my energy. She sat on the edge of my couch, twisting her hands. "I don't have anywhere else to go," she admitted. "My friends, they're tired of me crashing with them. My parents won't help. They said I need to learn responsibility." Her laugh was bitter, almost mocking. "Can you believe that?" I could believe it. In fact, I agreed with them. "You said I was holding you back," I reminded her quietly. "Now you're saying you need me. Which one is it?" She flinched. "I didn't mean it like that. I was frustrated. You were always steady. Too steady. I felt like I was stuck in your shadow. Thought I needed space to prove I could make it. And did you?" I asked. The silence stretched. She looked down, her bravado crumbling. Finally, she said, "I thought I had people who'd catch me. Turns out they don't really care. Not like you did." Her words might have once melted me. But now, all I felt was distance. It was like watching someone you used to know through a foggy window, familiar but unreachable. I told her, "Melissa, I loved you. I wanted a future with you, but you pushed me away. You made it clear that my support was a burden, not a gift. You don't get to walk back in and hit reset." She started crying then. Real tears, not the dramatic kind she used to weaponize. "So that's it? You're just going to let me drown?" I shook my head. "You're not drowning. You're learning to swim without a life vest. And yacht, it's hard. Well, it's not my job to keep you afloat anymore." Her sobs filled the room, but I stayed firm. Eventually, she wiped her face and stood. "Fine," she said hoarsely. "I'll figure it out." She headed for the door, pausing only once to glance back. "I hope you're happy." The click of the door closing behind her echoed like a final chapter slamming shut. And for the first time in months, I felt light, free. Later that week, her friends messaged me again. This time, the tone was different, less accusatory, more curious. "Melissa isn't saying much. She's off. What really happened between you two?" Didn't bother explaining. I just said she made her choices. That was enough. They could fill in the blanks however they wanted. By then, I realized something important. Melissa wasn't my responsibility anymore. Her downfall, her struggles, her lessons, those belonged to her. And mine. My lesson was simple. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them face the storm they created. Melissa's spiral didn't take long to reach me. Even though I had cut her off, the whispers traveled through our shared circles like wildfire. Friends who once cheered her on were now distancing themselves. Some sent me screenshots, almost as if they wanted me to know I'd won. One message stood out. A photo of Melissa, taken by someone at a bar, her hair messy, makeup smeared, clutching a drink like it was her last lifeline. The caption read, "Not the globe she promised." The comments underneath weren't kind. It stung to see her like that, even after everything. But sympathy wasn't the same as responsibility. I reminded myself of that every time guilt tried creeping in. By midweek, Melissa reached out again. This time her texts weren't angry or defensive. They were desperate. "I'm sorry I messed up. Please, can we talk? You were right. I didn't realize how much you did for me. I just need another chance. I swear I'll do better." I stared at the messages, but I didn't reply. Not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt too much. I knew if I cracked the door even an inch, she'd wedge herself back in, and we'd repeat the same cycle. The next day, her best friend messaged me directly. "She's crashing on my couch. She won't stop crying. Says she ruined everything. I know you don't owe her anything, but could you at least talk to her?" I typed and deleted my response 3 times before settling on. She has to figure this out herself, and I set my phone down, fighting the urge to check it again. That night, I got a knock on my door. My stomach sank the moment I heard it loud, insistent, familiar. When I looked through the peephole, there she was. Melissa stood outside, hoodie pulled over her head, eyes red and swollen. She looked nothing like the confident girl who had once told me I was holding her back. She looked defeated. I opened the door just a crack. She tried to step inside, but I didn't move. "Please," she whispered. "I just need 5 minutes." "Melissa," I said calmly, "this isn't your home anymore." Her face crumpled. "I don't have anywhere else to go." My chest tightened, but I stayed firm. "That's not my problem to fix." She broke then, sobbing, clutching her hands together like a prayer. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I needed freedom. But I was wrong. I don't want freedom. I want you. I want us. Her words hit hard, but they didn't change the truth. I had already mourned us, or I had already let her go. I whispered, "Melissa, I loved you. But you loved the idea of escaping more than you loved me. I can't compete with that." I closed the door gently, leaving her on the other side. Her muffled cries echoed down the hall, but I didn't open it again. For the first time, I realized letting her go wasn't just about protecting me. It was the only way she'd ever face the reality she'd been running from. The morning after I closed the door on Melissa, I half expected her to still be outside. But when I looked, the hallway was empty. No hoodie, no tears, just silence. I thought maybe that was it. Maybe she had finally accepted the truth. But I underestimated her desperation. That afternoon, I started getting calls, not from Melissa, but from her friends. They wanted to know why I let her go when she was trying so hard. One even accused me of being cruel. I didn't argue why, just hung up. They weren't there when she screamed at me, when she chose a fantasy over a future. By evening, I got a message from her mother, short and awkward. "She's not well. Please talk to her. She needs stability." I didn't reply. It wasn't my job to be her safety net anymore. The truth was, Melissa had always treated stability like it was a cage. I paid the bills, planned our future, and kept things steady. But she wanted fireworks, not foundations. She thought freedom meant burning bridges, not realizing those bridges were the only way back. 3 days passed before I heard her voice again. This time, it wasn't at my door, it was on my voicemail. She sounded broken. I lost everything. The gym cut me off. My car's gone. I can't even crash with friends anymore because they're tired of me. I need you." Her words twisted something in me. For years, I had imagined her saying those exact words, finally admitting she needed me. But now that she had, it didn't feel satisfying. It just felt sad because she didn't want me. She wanted what I provided. Later that night, I ran into a mutual friend at the grocery store. She shook her head when Melissa's name came up. She thought she was going to live like an influencer. But now she's just another girl who burned through everything, chasing a dream that wasn't real. That hit me harder than Melissa's begging, because it was true. She wasn't the villain she imagined herself to be, just lost, immature, and unwilling to admit that freedom without responsibility was just chaos. The final straw came a week later. Melissa showed up at my workplace. She waited in the lobby, eyes wide, trying to smile through the wreckage of her life. My coworkers whispered as I walked past her. She stood, blocking my path. "Please," she said softly, "don't do this. Don't let me drown." I stopped, looked her in the eye, and said the hardest words I've ever had too. "Melissa, I already threw you a lifeline. You cut it yourself." Then I walked away. That was the last time I saw her. Months have passed since then. She disappeared from our circle entirely. No more social media, no more mutual updates. Some say she moved back in with her parents.
Nice.
Others say she's trying to start fresh in another city. As for me, I paid off my debts, focused on myself, and finally found peace. Melissa thought I was holding her back. The truth was, I was the only thing keeping her grounded. When she chose to fly free, she forgot one simple rule. Not every flight has a safe landing. Made it this far? Smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe for more.